AI is going to expose every weak business model. What AI is great at, and it's going to continue to do, is speed and also information. The emotional connection we have to the things that AI cannot be because they are not you becomes 100 times more important. You are the one thing that I don't have, that AI doesn't have, that competitors in your industry don't have, but you've got to be connected to you. AI is going to expose the businesses who do not give a shit about their customers. We're in a revolutionary time. That's the reality.
Embodied CEOs don't chase trends. They pave the way. They lead from within, moved by purpose, unshaken by noise. When you are the source, you do not need permission. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This episode is coming out on Thanksgiving Day in the US. I know Canada already had their Thanksgiving, but I, of course, want to take a moment and express how grateful I am for this community, to anyone who listens to this podcast. It is my greatest honor to be able to create content from my heart and use my experience in business and life and have even the smallest impact on any of you. And I've had this podcast for over 7 years. Actually, I think that I started it around November, if I'm remembering the exact date. It was November 2018, because when we moved to Texas, and I started the podcast right around that same time. So I wish I knew the exact birthday of it, but I think it's been about exactly 7 years. And some of you guys have been around since then, which is incredible. And I'm so grateful for the time and the energy and the trust and the connection and all of you getting to witness you in growing your business, growing yourself, having your impact and fulfilling your purpose. So thank you. And I hope if you are celebrating today, you have an absolutely beautiful day. And sometimes my team's like, should we put this episode out, on Thanksgiving or not? But I think people over the weekend actually consume more. And so, have more moments to go for a walk and tune into a podcast. And so we usually still put out a podcast episode. So this episode will be the second in my 4-part series I'm doing, which is around my unpopular predictions for 2026. And before I dive into that, I do want to mention that if you are tuning into this episode on Black Friday weekend, we are running a Black Friday promotion. It is our best and biggest sale of the year, where we actually offer a full-blown strategy call and strategy creation for your business for like 80% off our regular price. It's a crazy deal. We did it last year and we sold out really quickly. So we get on a one-on-one call with you, and then we create your entire 360 marketing strategy, from your funnel to your messaging to auditing your offer or helping you with developing that offer that you're going to create, to the email marketing, to the ads and traffic strategy, entire presentation. And we market 80% off for Black Friday only, and it's only through Cyber Monday, so a few days. So if you go to embodiedmarketing.com/strategy, you can check that offer out. We will cap it out because we actually meet with every business one-on-one. And so last year we did sell out on the strategies. All right, let's dive into today's prediction. My second unpopular prediction is that AI is going to expose every weak business model. But I'm going to talk about this a little bit different than how I think most people talk about AI. I think most people talk about AI from a very much a place of fear, and also replacing what they do, and also automation and speed, which is all valid. I'm not saying any of that is valid except for the replacing. I think AI will only replace the businesses and the people who don't adapt with it, who don't, people who work in a company. AI is only going to replace the people who don't use it. And AI is only going to replace the companies who don't pivot and adapt to still be valuable despite AI. I'm not worried about AI replacing me and my company. Because honestly, first of all, what good does that do worrying about it? Number two, I can't control AI. I can't control the rollout of it. So it doesn't even matter what I think or don't think. I can control my response and I can control my actions. And so I know that I don't want to be passive or ignorant to the reality. And so I think AI is going to expose all the businesses. It already has started, but it's going to continue, who have not adapted their model and have a weak business model. So what do I mean? In order for us to understand the type of business model that you have to have with AI, you have to understand what is AI going to do within your niche, because some are going to be impacted more. I feel like my marketing company is going to be impacted definitely more than like in a service business, an in-person, I show up at your house, I do work type of business, right? So what is AI going to impact? In general, what AI is great at, and it's going to continue to do, is speed. Speed and also information. AI has now made it so that access to information is so easy and so fast compared to how it used to. So what will happen and is happening is that people are going to now expect that as the norm, that I don't need to go and learn as much in terms of watching videos and consuming in that way, because I can just ask chat and have a whole conversation and get my question answered and get actions that I can go take and go get exactly what I'm supposed to do. I also can go do that in 30 seconds. And so I don't need to take a ton of time and I can get what I want faster. And AI in general is a mechanism of speed. It's going to make things faster. It's going to increase the capacity that humans have to do what humans do. Humans are still going to be needed, but they will have to work with AI. In 10 years from now, I mean, who knows what this world will be like in 10 years from now, but I do know that every single person, AI will be so normal, it'll be like the internet. And is it scary to think about with my kids? Absolutely, but I have zero control over that. I only have control over how I raise them now, how I show up now, and the decisions I make now. And so that is what I choose to focus on, and that is where I choose to put my energy. I've been saying this for a long time with marketing, but when we think about AI and we go, okay, in the sense of our marketing and our business, what do we have that AI doesn't? Well, we have a heart. We have a soul. We have emotions. We have connection. We have an energetic frequency that, whether you believe that or not, it's true, is not the same as AI, which is a robot. So if we know that that's the value that we bring that AI does not, that means that the emotional connection we have with our audience, with our people, with the people we want to serve, the emotional connection to our mission, to our messaging, to our voice, to the things that AI cannot be because they are not you, becomes 100 times more important. That soul of your business, which is driven by your heart, your mission, your purpose, why you are here, who you are as a person, is the magic. And I got so heated on a webinar recently talking about this, because I was like, I am so tired of everybody trying to convince you that the answer to your business being successful and your marketing working is outside of you and is by you following what somebody else says to do. Absolutely. Are there templates and frameworks and processes that are good and can work well? Absolutely. Yes. But you are the magic. You are the one thing that I don't have, that AI doesn't have, that competitors in your industry don't have. But you've got to be connected to you. You've got to be connected to your mission. You've got to be connected to the things that you are here to say, to the beliefs that you have, and to that conviction. So when we look at AI is going to expose business models that no longer work. One of those is extremely surface level, honestly, money motivated businesses. I believe money is a byproduct. Money is like the lowest on the list of motivation for a business, because money will happen if the other things are in place. If the purpose, if the mission, if the expertise and connection is in place to serve your audience, money's just going to happen. It doesn't need to be a motivation. AI is going to expose the businesses who do not give a shit about their customers, the businesses who don't actually care about their audience, who don't care and they don't have passion and they don't have conviction and they don't have connection backing what they're doing. I just got really heated over that. AI is going to expose that. And I think a lot of my audience on here, you guys have it. So lean into it, because so much of what I talk about is heart-centered marketing and heart-centered business and embodiment, right? And, honestly, I think when I started my company, 10 years ago, I started in the first few years of my company, I think that there were a lot of companies in the digital marketing space that could survive without the heart, unfortunately. But that's a house of cards. It doesn't work forever. I think now it's almost impossible because people see through it. Because the more we have AI, the more people are going to want that connection, that human, heart-centered connection. And you can feel it. Like when you read copy online and it is missing that, and I'm not saying like, it's not about it uses AI or it doesn't use AI. I use AI for my copy, but you almost, I think, would never know, because it's always backed. First of all, I don't 100% use it. It's a supporting tool. Second of all, it's always backed by a connection and an emotion. It's always like checked through this filter of my heart. And, when my team writes it, it's like connected to the voice and the brand and the conviction behind that. And people know. People more than ever are craving organic, genuine, authentic connection. AI is going to expose the businesses who don't have that. AI is going to expose the businesses who have not asked themselves, how do I meet my ideal customer where they're at right now, given the AI industry we're in and the AI era we are in? And if we know that AI is creating this need for speed and lowering the need for information being valuable, how do we meet that in our offers? How do we create the result faster? How do we make it easier for people? How do we leverage our proprietary process and our methods in everything we do, because it's what AI doesn't have? How do we work with AI to still be valuable? And there are some business owners who are overwhelmed by this, and so they ignore it and they think I don't know what they think. I think they're just kind of running from it. AI is going to expose this. And so this is the year to double down, triple down on your messaging, on the depth within your messaging and how you serve your ideal customer and how you show up and how you create that connection, create that result, communicate it with conviction, communicate it with heart. And it's the year to probably double down on how you're going to pivot if you haven't already. I think most offers are having to change. And I've spoken a lot about this on the podcast in terms of taking your proprietary methods and your process and your wisdom and how you get the result you get and infusing that with AI. And that's what I've done in my programs. That's what I believe the future is of digital products, of services, you name it. Like, we're in a revolutionary time. That's the reality. And we get to be leaders within that and say, let's pave the way. Let's come up with the new ideas. Let's innovate. But that takes intention doing that. And it also takes that connection of, how do I create more human connection and depth in my business? And the reality is, like, I don't believe AI can replace humans. I think that people are going to crave the in-person connection and the heart, organic, realness that comes behind a human the more we use AI, because it's going to be lonely. And yes, like, is it scary? Is it concerning? Is it going to create a whole bunch of problems? Probably. Probably. Do we have any control over it? No. So how do we become the solution? How do we pave the way? How do we say, here's the problems AI is going to create? It's going to solve all of these. It's going to create opportunity over here, but it's also going to create these problems. And so how do we solve that? Or how do we meet people where they're at in the reality of where we're going? And, it's just like if we go back to the internet, right? I think AI is bigger than the internet, but if we go back to the internet, every business who did not do these exact things, the internet exposed the weaknesses and they eventually do become irrelevant. But if you look at it this way and you go, how do I become the solution? How do I infuse this into my mission? How do I double down on my mission? How do I create more depth? How do I create more connection? How do I do all the things that AI doesn't have so that I can stand out, so that I can still be a solution, so that I can still have that connection, maybe more so? Then you've created opportunity. And now, there is so much opportunity. There is so much because new also creates opportunity. It creates problems and it creates the need to pivot, but it also creates that opportunity. So that's what I think next year, it's already important, but it's just going to become more important. I think it's exciting because whenever this happens, it's like, here's all the businesses, and then the businesses who do this come here and these ones go away. And now there's like more opportunity. And it's kind of like this natural adjustment that happens when an industry gets saturated, which is what we see in a lot of industries right now. And there's going to be this adjustment. So you guys are going to be the ones who prioritize this because I'm asking you the questions and you're able to come up with the actions based on this perspective. And this next event in January in Austin, we're going to do AI workshops. We're going to speak about this. We also are doing a specific workshop with Vasavi, who was on my podcast, where we're going to talk and come up with your message and your content, because I just think that's so powerful right now, is how to amplify that message in your voice and what you want to say that other people are not saying. So we're going to do that on day 1. And then on day 3, on the VIP day, you actually get to create some content with that. So it's going to be super cool. So if you want to sign up for the event, I'll drop that link to embodiedmarketing.com/live. Thank you guys for tuning in. I've got 2 more unpopular truths, unpopular predictions for 2026 coming next week on the Tuesday, Thursday podcast drop. Hope you guys are enjoying the series and have a beautiful Thanksgiving holiday, Thanksgiving weekend if you celebrate. If not, never hurts to take a moment to just be grateful.